What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is gonna be your review for Love After Lockup Season 4, Episode 2. So, listen, I'm gonna start. We're gonna do this couple by couple, but we're gonna have to start with the We're gonna have to save Harry and India for last because they were doing the most. We're gonna start with the least problematic and work our way up because they were the most problematic in this episode. So we're gonna start with the least problematic and work our way up. So let's start with Kayla and Martell. Okay. Now Kayla spent this whole episode waiting for Martell at the bus station in her freakum dress and in her freakum pumps. Okay. He was 2 hours late getting there. Every time a bus turned that corner, she was like, "Is that him?" Y'all remember the old Chris Tucker joke? When he waited for his friend, he was like, "That's him, that's him, that's him, that's him, that's him." Oh no, that ain't him, that ain't him. That's what she was doing. Every time a bus hit that corner, she was looking for him and it wasn't him. And then come to find out he showed up in a damn van from the prison. He didn't even come there on the bus. But he was 2 hours late. And she said, "Listen, it ain't easy sitting here in this white freaking dress with no drawers on and in these freaking pumps, okay?" She was smart though. She had her sneakers waiting for her. But what we did find out is that even though Martell asked Kayla um to be celibate the 13 years that they was dating, she won't, and I'm not even mad about it. But she gonna turn it into a whole thing and make it a big deal, and he gonna turn it into a whole thing and make it into a big deal, because his little ego gonna get his little feelings hurt. Let me explain something to you, sir. I bet you've had sex in the last 13 years. Anyway. We found out that he was in jail for drugs, and he's saying, "I don't even know why I was doing it because I come from a pretty wealthy family." Now, I'm going to need to know what his definition of wealthy is. He said that when he got caught, that it was really just the police profiling him. They said he was speeding, but he wasn't speeding. And when they pulled him over, they had the canine dogs. And, of course, the canine dogs smelled that cocaine and crack that they had in the trunk along with them illegal firearms. Now, I'm going to tend to believe him on this. Because if you know you riding dirty, the last thing you do when you riding dirty is speed down the damn highway in the state of North Carolina. As somebody who lived in the state of North Carolina for 6 years, and one day I would tell you the story about how I got arrested for speeding in North Carolina. I'll be the first one to tell you, you don't speed in North Carolina, especially if you're riding dirty, okay? So, I'm just saying, I tend to believe him on that part. But Martell, I'm going to need to know your definition of wealthy, and then we will get back to you, sir. So, that's it. That's all we got. They went to the hotel room. He got to be at the halfway house in 11 hours and 15 minutes. And he said they got time to go by the hotel room. They put the cameraman out. He talking about something, "We'll see y'all in about an hour." Sir, what? Now, I know they got to drive back. I think she said it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive back to where the halfway house is from where he was released. So, the way I see it, and I understand you don't want to cut it too close, but the way I see it, the math I'm doing, subtract the 2, carry the 1, y'all got longer than an hour to play around in that hotel room. Sir, if you have really gone out for the last 13 years, an hour. Y'all got at least 2. Y'all got at least 2.5 good solid hours before y'all got to get on the road and get down to that halfway house. A good 2.5 solid. You could probably push it to 3 if you don't stop for the food on the way down there. You could probably push it to 3. But okay, whatever. Y'all do y'all. Anyway, that's where we left off with Kayla and Martell. I feel like when they finally do give us some good Kayla and Martell tea, it's going to get deep. But anyway. Kevin and Tiffany, listen, I'm over this situation already because Kevin is a whole player. He got Kayla popping up on him. This fool gonna say him and his friends. Now he down at the bar with his boys at the outside drinking, the outside little, sitting area, table area, lounge situation. They posting all on social media where they are, and then they're gonna say, "I don't know how Kayla always finds him. She must have a GPS on him." No, she just follows his ass on Instagram and he posts where he is with the whole name and address, and he probably pins it underneath the picture. He want Kayla to find him. Listen, y'all stop playing this game with Kayla and Kevin. And poor Tiffany is going to be in dead smack in the middle of this bullshit. And I feel like Tiffany ain't the one. I feel like it's going to be a whole problem. So Kayla pops up on them because she said he is ignoring her phone calls. And she want to know why he ain't called her. She said, listen, me and Kevin, we have sex. She said, we just had sex Sunday, okay? Me and Kevin do this. This is what we do. This is our situation. He comes over on Sunday. We watch our shows together. I got him saved down to the DVR. We have our shows that we like to watch. And then when we get done watching our shows, then we had sex. And he spends the night. And then we do it all over again next week. So all of this, I'm trying to separate and I'm trying to stop, and I don't understand why she won't leave me alone. She won't leave you alone because you won't leave her alone. And you like it, and you playing games. But anyway, Tiffany's getting out of jail. He drives down to the jail. He gets up that morning. He already running late. Gets up that morning. He calls down to the jail to find out what time she's going to be released. Come to find out she ain't. She's not going to be released. You know why she's not going to be released? Because she got in some sort of trouble. All they would tell her is that her release date has been terminated for whatever reason, and all they'll tell him is that it's something disciplinary. So I don't know if she done got herself into some sort of fight, skirmish, she done disrespected the guard, something didn't happen, and her ass is not coming home. So now he mad, he all in his feelings, but she gotta go to the halfway house too. But he said that when she get out the halfway house, he absolutely wants her to come and live with him. And I'm like, well, who, you and Kayla? Three y'all gonna live there together? Because Kayla's not going anywhere. They had a whole conversation, and Kayla was like, I don't understand what the problem is. I don't understand why we can't be together. I don't understand what you don't understand about why we can't be together. Why can't we be together? Why we can't be together, Kevin? Why we can't be together? I'm not playing these games with Kevin. Kevin playing crackhead games, and I don't have time for the crackhead games, okay? Chance and Taylor. Now, Chance is another one. He called her, Taylor, and said, I'm getting out early. So Taylor wasn't ready. Not only was Taylor not ready, production wasn't ready. They hadn't even installed all of the cameras in her house that they needed to install in her house so that they could be ready to capture all of the moments when he got there. She said, I ain't had time. She said, I would have liked to have some time to clean up and clean out the closet, give him his closet. But, I didn't expect him to be getting out early. Now, I don't know how early he was getting out as compared to when y'all thought he was going to get out. But some of that stuff you could have already put in place. But let me just erase everything I just said because I done the same damn thing, child. I'm a last minute person. That damn closet wouldn't have been cleaned out until 5 minutes before I walked out the door. So I'm just going to be honest with you. And as far as cleaning up the house, I probably just would have had somebody come in and do it for me. Because you know why? Because I don't have the energy for it. Okay? I just don't. So somebody else would have came in to clean that house. So that it would be nice. You know what I mean? Be nice and fresh, smell good, all that good stuff for him to walk in there. I'd have kept it up, But just to give him that nice little come home to situation. So I take all that back. Girl, I wouldn't have had the house ready either. Now, Chance has been in jail for 8 years for bank robbery. We remember that he was the one that robbed the bank that was inside of the grocery store. And he said, listen, I was high. He said, listen, I don't even have no explanation. I ain't about to sit here and defend what I did. I ain't even try to make it make no sense. I was high. And he said that he has been addicted to, he was doing all of the painkiller drugs, all of the pills, the Vicodin, the oxycodone, all that stuff he was doing. And he just ready to be out and clean and all that good stuff. So she goes to the jail to pick him up. It is pouring down raining. Of course, they got to do the whole, is that him? Is that him? Oh, no, that ain't him. Is that him? Is that him? Oh, no, that ain't him. Oh, it's him. Now, because it was pouring down raining, she didn't do the normal, I'm going to stand there and wait and then run up to him and hug him and let him swing me around. She sat in that car and was like, so she finally got his attention and he came over and of course they had to do the kissing and the hugging and the loving. And she got ready to start the car. Y'all, that battery was dead. Girl, please tell me you were not sitting outside of that jail because I think he was like 90 minutes late. You were sitting outside that jail clearly because 90 minutes don't run your battery down. I mean, not if you already got a good battery. If your battery was already about to be run down, then it will. But you were sitting out there for the whole 90 minutes with your battery running and all of that. Girl, anyway, they ended up having to get a jump. And she said He seems to be in such good spirits about this. He's laughing about it. He's making a joke about it. I hope that this is how he handles all of our conflicts, because this is very reassuring that he's handling it, so cool like that. I will say that I can agree to that. He didn't get an attitude. He didn't get mad. He didn't get irritated. Because honestly, if I had just got out of jail after an 8-year bid, and the person who came to pick me up battery died in front of the damn, like, y'all didn't even get down the street to the 7-Eleven. Y'all were literally still in front of the jail. They had to flag somebody down and use some jump. Then you don't have no jumper cables. Listen, ma'am. First thing my daddy did when I started driving, when I got my car, first thing he did when I got a car was buy me a whole set, with jumper cables and the caution lights and all that to keep in my trunk. Girl, if you don't run your happy ass down to the damn AutoZone and get you some jumper cables, listen. Because it's one thing to find somebody that's willing to give you a jump. It's something totally different to find somebody that's willing to give you jump that has cables. Girl, anyway, that's just my life lesson. That's my life hack. That is my 2 cents for today. Go on down to the AutoZone and get you some jumper cables, okay? They got nice little kits. They not really they not expensive in the interim. When you compare it to being stranded on the side of the road for however many hours you might be stranded on the side of the road because you can't flag nobody down that got damn cables, it really ain't that expensive. But neither here nor there. Moving on. Yeah, so we're gonna see how this works out, because I ain't forgot that he the same one that be blowing up your phone and want to know where you are and why you didn't answer the phone when he called, and the same one that want to put your twin sister in the garage. I ain't forgot that that's him. But in this episode, okay, Chance, you was cool. Rick and Radine. Now we open this up with Rick at the store shopping for Radine, because again she gotta go to the halfway house, so he gonna pick her up, take her to the halfway house, and she can't have too much stuff, so it sounds like she can have like a week's worth of clothes, because he was like he needs 4 bras, 4 pair of underwear, a couple of pajamas, blah blah blah. So they're at the store. Now he ends up bringing his roommate, who happens to be a female, with him to help him shop. Here's the thing. That was a really good idea. Men listen, when y'all are out here shopping, y'all should always take a female with y'all, because you just need that female point of view, and vice versa. Women, when you out here shopping for your man, you just need that male point of view. You having a female roommate really isn't a problem. It's not an issue for me. I mean, people do it all the time. It's not taboo. It's not, this ain't Three's Company, right? It's not a big deal. But Radine called while you were at the store. Now, your roommate is worried about another woman moving into the space. She said, listen, either we're going to be best friends or we're going to be butting heads. It's really ain't going to be no middle ground. She's worried about it. Radine is on the phone telling you that it might be a problem. That female energy. I don't know how that's going to work out. And then you're going to tell her, well, yeah, well, no, I don't think he told her. I think he said in his confessional, well, I think she does have like a little bit of a crush on me. Then that is a recipe for disaster, sir. Now, I didn't see anything in this episode that made me feel like that girl got a crush on you. But I mean, that was just one time. But that is crazy that you are moving a woman into your home that you share, that you have a roommate with somebody else who you feel like has feelings for you. That is a recipe for disaster, and you are setting up a situation. Okay? Neither here nor there. He ends up spending $700 at that store that day, and he was like, okay, I can't afford this. Like, I make decent money and I get by, but I ain't got it like that to just be throwing $700 here, $800 there, whatever. I don't know what to tell you, bruh. So we see Rick go to visit Radine's parents, her father and his stepmom, and come to find out that he's been in touch with them, and they know each other, and this isn't the first time he's hung out with them. And we come to find out that that Radine was a really sweet girl until she got strung out on drugs, right? And then she just turned into a monster that a lot of people do when they get on drugs. Like, that's what it is. So Daddy said that he's a little nervous about her getting out of jail. He said, listen, I'm glad that she's clean and sober, but it's real easy to be clean and sober in jail, which it really ain't, because they got as many drugs in jail as they do out of jail. But I understood the point he was making. And he talked about the fact that he's a recovering addict, and so he understands how hard it is. Well, Rick is also a recovering addict, and so he talked about how hard it is for him too. And he said, I've been, clean from the drugs, but I do take a drink occasionally. He said, I've had about 6 drinks in 6 months versus, at the height of my addiction, I was drinking every day. Daddy was a little nervous about having any sort of drugs or alcohol. He said, my biggest concern is that she's going to screw up and then fuck up your sobriety. I can appreciate Daddy for being honest. I can appreciate Daddy for feeling like, listen, my concern is that your sobriety is going to get screwed up, because I know my daughter. And I know all that glitters ain't gold when it come to her, okay? So then we find out that his roommate smokes weed. So that's not a good idea. So that's another reason why this is not a good idea, that you have your ex-con, soon-to-be ex-con girlfriend, who is a recovering drug addict, moving into a home where there's going to be weed smoke every day. And I know a lot of people might not think that weed is a big deal, but for somebody who already has an addiction and already has an addictive personality, weed is a gateway. Like, there's some people who can smoke weed and never, ever, ever try anything else and be perfectly content with getting that high off of their weed, okay? But then there are other people where that is the gateway to the next thing. They can't just stop at weed. They got to go keep going and keep going and keep going. And so that is not a good idea. But Daddy said, well, it's a good thing that she coming to stay here. Rick was like, what? Rick said it was my understanding that my address was on her paperwork, that after the halfway house, she was coming to stay with me. Daddy was like, yeah, no, she's staying here. So we're going to see how that works itself out. Now, stepmama don't seem to be too keen about this whole Rick situation. Stepmama is still hung up on the age difference, and Daddy was like, listen, I ain't really pressed about the age difference too much, because listen, child, by the time they get old, I won't be here no more. I said, I know that's right, Daddy. Daddy said by the time that age difference become an issue, I won't even be here, so I ain't worried about it. But anyway, so Rick gets a phone call from Radine, come to find out her date that she's being released is being pushed back because of a COVID outbreak. So she's in a unit that had an outbreak, and she can't go anywhere until she finishes going through her quarantine. So that pushes her release date back. And so, of course, he's pissed off and upset about that, which, again, I could understand the disappointment. But the alternative is she come home sick. I mean, it just is what it is, F COVID. That's all we can do. Now, let's get to this bull hockey right here. Harry and India. Listen. Within the first 5 minutes, I already see where this is going. Harry is an immature, disrespectful, selfish, self-centered asshole who's going to really be back in jail probably by the time this airs. Look. Harry got out of jail. She picks him up from the halfway house. Now, mind you, his mama and his sisters are back at his sister's house making him mofongo and whatever other, I guess, his favorite dishes are, because they're Puerto Rican, and that's, they cooking him at midnight, right? Mind you, remember, he got out at midnight. So Indy leaves her daughter with perfect strangers, because you done left your daughter with this man's sister who you really don't know from a hole in the wall. Now, that's not to say I think the woman gonna do nothing to the child. All I'm saying is, Indy, you don't know that woman wasn't gonna do nothing to your child. Leaves to go pick the man up. She tells him, oh, your sisters are back at the house. Your mom and your sisters are back at the house. They're making you mofongo. He was like, I don't want that shit. They proceed to go through a fast food spot, which honestly, I wouldn't have even been mad about that, because if he didn't want the mofongo and he been craving a burger or craving this particular restaurant since he's been in jail, I'm not even going to be mad at him about that. Here's the problem, and here's the part where I got mad. Not only did you decide that's what you wanted for yourself, you said you promised the dudes back at the halfway house that you would bring them some food. So you took your happy ass to this fast food restaurant, ordered up a bunch of food with her money for some dudes in the halfway house, took it back to the halfway house, and when your sister and them call, you get an attitude with them because they're upset that you are taking your sweet ass time coming back to the house after they've been up cooking food for you and waiting to see you. It's not about the food. It was about the fact that you hadn't seen your family and they were there waiting to welcome you back home. You don't have to eat none of the food, even though I'm sure they wanted you to. They cooked it for you. But if you didn't want the food and you walked in there with some Burger King, McDonald's, whatever, they would have got over that. But I think the bigger deal was they were planning something nice for you for a welcome home, and you blew them off to go take some food to some dudes at the halfway house. You could have done that the next day. Like, you promised them you would bring them something. You could have done that the next day. Like, for real talk. And the fact that you didn't seem to understand why they were upset by that. So he gets back to the house. Mind you, by the time he gets back to the house, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. And everybody else has left except for his sister, who lives there, obviously. And she got to stay up to let them in because neither one of them have keys to even get in the damn house. So she lets them in, and of course, she's got an attitude. The two of them get to arguing. He gets mad, talking about some, see, that's why I didn't want to do this shit. See, that's why I don't even, don't nobody care about me. They don't care about me. I ain't never had nobody that's there for me. I ain't never had nobody there for me. He is straight up drinking liquor straight out of a bottle. So that tells me that y'all stopped at more than just the daggone fast food. Y'all done stopped and got some liquor, and y'all probably stopped somewhere and had sex. I mean, let's just call a thing. Because if she picked you up at midnight, what took you 3 hours? Anyway, so him and his sister get into it. So he was like, fuck it, we're going to leave. We're going to a hotel. So they end up leaving there. They go to the hotel. Yeah, of course, they take the daughter and everything. And the next morning, they talking about how awkward it was for them to try to have sex in the bathroom because, of course, they're in a hotel now and they don't want to have sex in front of the daughter. They got to be quiet and all this other stuff because she's old enough to not know everything that's going on, but she's definitely old enough to hear them and be like, what's wrong? What's going on? What's that noise? And then we get a call from the sister. The sister was like, yo, you need to get your shit together. Your PO just called me. You were supposed to call and check in and you didn't, and now they calling here looking for you. You need to call them back. He calls his PO. He was supposed to check in with the PO by 10 o'clock. He talking about something, it slipped my mind. Sir, you had one job. You are out of jail. He said he is on parole for the next, or probation, whatever, for the next 30 years. How the fuck did you forget to call your probation officer? You were on probation for 30 years. First of all, that's ridiculous. Justice system do better. 30 years? 30 years. Really, for real. 30 years? This man can't make no mistakes for 30 years. Now, let's be clear. He gonna make some mistakes because he's an asshole. But the average person, 30 years? Anyway. And the parole officer tells him, listen, you need to be at your sister's house every night. I'm putting an ankle monitor on you so that makes sure that you are where you're supposed to be. So now he's going to be on house arrest for however long. I'm pretty certain they're not going to put him on house arrest for 30 years, but shit, I could be wrong. But I don't think they're going to be on house arrest for 30 years. But he's going to be on house arrest for a minute. He said, yeah, I need to make sure that you're not hanging out with your pen pal. Girl, Indy in the back mad, talking about some pen pal. I'm not your pen pal. We've been together for a year. He said, the jail considers anybody, the jail just put all y'all in the same category. Y'all are all our pen pals. Like, they don't, no, you a pen pal. I said, so after all of that, you're going to end up having to go back to your sister's house and eating crow because your plan that you thought you was going to just put your sister address down and do whatever the hell you wanted to do anyway, that's just been foiled by your parole officer who you forgot to check in with. Sir, bye. He gonna be back in jail before this season over. His ass gonna be back in jail. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.